So we all know Okarun is kind of stealing the spotlight right now. Everybody wants Okarun. Everybody's trying to get this man. If you're using him, you know how broken he is. And with all this hype, it unfortunately leaves the other character in the dust. Now, I don't actually think Momo is that bad compared to other people. Some people are saying this unit has no place, that you will never ever use her, and she doesn't really seem that impactful. Well, in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how easy she makes the game, but there is a catch. Before we get into all that, let me summarize what Momo does. Momo is a race damage mitigation tank with multiple different buffs in her kit, including equipment CT speed and even water damage up. I don't really want to say she's more of a tank, she's more of this sub-attacker that just has damage mitigation. Now, this racial damage mitigation is actually insanely good because it stacks with all unconditional damage mitigation effects. It helps out a lot in team building, but in this video right here, we'll mainly be using her with this guy. And this right here is like her main thing. If you are using Momo and you want to get the most out of her, I would say you look at the DR first, and then you look at the equipment CT speed, you look at that damage buff last. If you go in this kind of order, you will see the value in Momo, like in this fight right here. This is the most recent chapter, challenge fight, chapter 30, against the Bluebird. Now, the Bluebird is pretty much what he is all the time. He has evasion, he can freeze you, but he also takes no damage from water units, so that's why we brought Shadow. But in this fight, you can see that we are fighting a beast character, so we are getting Momo's racial DR, and we also have Shiro Emiya here, so that's another 30% DR on top of Momo's 30%. We're at 60% DR. We factor in the defense items, and there we go, we're over 100% DR with just 2 units on the team. Now, the reason why this is so good is because it pretty much means that you can do whatever you want to in this fight, and as long as you keep your DR buffs up from your 2 units, you won't ever be at a risk of dying. I'm going to show you another fight in this video later on that's even crazier, and you guys are going to be like, there's no way this happened. And yeah, it works in one of the most annoying fights in the entire game. But as you see here, Momo did really well. Working alongside Shiro Emiya, having that massive amount of DR makes it to where that barrier lasts for so much longer. We only ever lost Shiro Emiya's barrier to it running out of time, but if it didn't have a time limit, I'm telling you right now, we would never ever have to use Shiro Emiya's art again in this fight. We could just use Shiro Emiya's true art and super art. Imagine if that was the case, right? This character would even be more busted than what he already is. But as you see here, Momo is doing really well because not only is she buffing up the DR, but she's making everybody's defense equip CT speeds, or just any equip on the team, extremely fast. And this is something that mono water was kind of missing, and unfortunately water didn't really have someone that was extremely notable that had an equipment CT buff. But now with Momo on the scene, you have that option. If I'm just gonna be completely frank, I'm kind of leaning towards that Momo may be the go-to 4th slot unit in any piece of hard content for mono water, as long as you are fighting a human, demon, or beast, just because how easy she makes these fights. As you see, the bird just kind of fell over, absolutely bodied him, which means now we can move on to our next fight, which is against Holy Knight Roy. And the team that we decided to go with for Holy Knight Roy was just all reliable. We really didn't need Diablo, to be honest. I mean, the other defense slot would help. In reality, we could have used anybody that had accuracy and probably cleared this no problem whatsoever, but I did want somebody that kind of gave some art shin too. But in this fight too, it's another situation where you just don't die. There's no damage coming in at all. When you already have a wall on the field, which is going to be Shiro Emiya, and then you're able to reinforce that wall with a character like Momo, what's getting through it? Literally nothing. A boss would have to apply multiple DR downs to get through all of this. I have never had a smoother run against Ultimate Paladin Roy. I literally just pop her art, use her true art, use her super art whenever I can, or whenever I want to do big girl damage, and then there we go, we're good. It's actually insane how good that DR buff is. The only thing that I kind of wish is she maybe had a bit more arch gen in the kit for the team. If she had like a bigger burst of arch gen, I could definitely see her being a whole lot better. If you look at the detail screen, Shiro Emiya dealing the most amount of damage. You look at damage taken, of course, Chloe taking the most amount of damage. What about if I told you she even makes BF Emperor a bit of a breeze? Now, I will say it's not a complete breeze, because this is the one fight that definitely pushed her to the limit out of everything due to the amount of annoying mechanics that BF Emperor has. But this is the team comp we went with. 3 humans and only 1 spirit. That spirit, of course, being Arstalo. Orbis. In this exact situation with Shiro Emiya, with Chloe, and everybody else, with the DR we had, we were never in fear of dying. As long as we could keep Shiro Emiya's barrier up in most cases, and we just kind of worked through all of these feints in the very beginning, we got through this extremely easily. Now, if you were planning on doing this on your own, let me just tell you that you really have to be on your P's and Q's with that barrier usage and the constant usage of your arts with Momo, because this first few, like, I would say minute to 2 minutes, Emperor's gonna do nothing but feint humans. He's gonna try to get you out of there, but after like that minute threshold, he kind of just stops. He doesn't feint humans at all anymore, because I guess the game thought that, hey, they probably are dead by now. The amount of damage that we're able to push through right here at the end with like Momo plus Arcilla Orbis's ramping damage buff that she has on her super art, all the additional stats she gives as well, and then of course we got the GOAT Shiro Emiya doing his thing with Unlimited Blade Works. This man BF Emperor doesn't stand a chance, which this is saying something, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of the new units that come out cannot do this fight. They can't. This fight is still one of the hardest fights in the game, just because if you are not like a type that just counters him, like a spirit dragon or whatever, it is insanely difficult to hang with BF Emperor's shenanigans, because he is just so annoying. But here we go with Momo coming into the game. A lot of people are sleeping on this unit, saying she's completely garbage, but thanks to all this additional DR she's giving, plus the defense slots she has, that's like the unsung hero here. Even with DR downs, we still are pretty much a-okay. The DR downs is where we see this strat start to crumble a little bit though. Once we start getting more and more fights that have a DR down they apply to the entire team, especially if it's multiple, that's where Momo's damage mitigation could just be completely negated, since if you have, like, let's say 3 DR downs, they're each 10%, well, there goes Momo's damage mitigation from even being useful. But to that same note, that is kind of the biggest counter to every damage mitigation tank, so you can't really hold that against her. But yeah, I personally really like this unit. In harder content, she is going to be a character that you turn to a lot of the times, especially in fights that you see like, damn, you know, I'm really having trouble against this boss. Who can I turn to? Oh, I have Momo. Let me slot in Momo so I can just face tank everything. If Momo had a barrier, oh my god, dude. One of the better characters in the game. Wouldn't say one of the best, but one of the better characters in the game. The worst part about Momo, though, is just using her in anything that's not against these races. You see that I did not show off Momo against anybody that was not a human, demon, or beast, because there's no point in using Momo in those pieces of content. But if you were fighting one of those races and you were having a very difficult time, Momo's your go-to. I could see this unit being very good in the mines, possibly, against fights that are extremely challenging in later floors. Just throwing on the Momo and being like, hey, this is an additional 30% DR, plus she has a defense slot, so she's going to be able to just help the team tank so much more. If she was able to counter gods as well, it would have been incredible. I think I would have maybe preferred that over the human, possibly, but at the same time too, we do have a lot of human bosses in the game, so you can't have everything, right? If you got her, she is definitely more of a vet style character that is able to fight in a lot of these challenge fights. However, you have to make sure that you know the race the boss is before you actually slot her on the team. I will say too that she gets immensely better if you have one of the top damage mitigation characters in the game already. I'm talking about your Shiro Emiyas, your Beta, your Saitamas, or, you know, if you just start playing the game, use her alongside Sandstone. You're going to be seeing a very good damage mitigation duo with that right there. If you don't have those units, she's not going to perform nowhere near as good as you're seeing in this video, unfortunately. But if you have those characters, hell, if you even have taunt tanks, use her alongside taunt tanks. They will greatly appreciate that additional DR. But as long as you know that the boss you're going up against is one of the races she counters, she is a perfect 4th slot unit. That's gonna be it for this video. Tell me down below what you all think about Momo. You already heard my opinions. I would love to hear all of yours. If you enjoyed this video though, highly recommend you check out this video popping on the screen right now. It's a great piece of content. Guarantee you love it. I'll meet you over there. And one more thing before you leave, don't forget to drink water.